was fortunate enough to inherit a large amount of money from my late father. I made a promise to him on his deathbed that I would invest it wisely and continue his project as his legacy. This is going to be one of the greatest, most extraordinary and unique attractions the world has ever seen, and you're all going to help me to make it. Welcome to Ghost Island.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you guys are. My name is Paul Oski, and with me today is the returning guest, Joey Oliveira. Pleasure to have you back again, Joey.
Pleasure to be on, Paul. Thanks for having me on again. Been looking forward to doing this episode, so it'll be good to get into it.
Yes, this is, a different episode as, you guys can see the name of the title here. This is all about the Ghost Island series, Joey's very first series of the Afterlight comics, which has now finally reached the grand finale. So we wanted to dedicate this entire episode just to Ghost Island alone, because right now, as this episode is being recorded and released, you can actually fund the Kickstarter for the finale. And if you are hearing this after the Kickstarter is finished and done with, don't worry, go to hopefully afterlightcomic.com and hopefully you can still grab some issues, because we'll get into that as well. Especially prepare yourself for, next year of what's going to happen about Ghost Island and the series and etc. So without further ado, let's wipe the floor with Joey. No, I'm joking. So Joey, so talk to us about your final campaign, man. Like, you originally wanted this out last year, if I remember right, but unfortunately, due to, like everything, things beyond our control, it looked like Ghost Island got pushed into 2020. And then you had an original, schedule, I'll say, where I think it was supposed to have been, March or April or something, right?
Yeah.
You pushed it? Yeah, so talk about it.
Okay, so last year, in 2019, was really the beginning of us really getting into the flow of our schedule Afterlight Comics and going through, pushing out 6 titles a year. So as we were scheduling for the year, we were coming up to Ghost Island 6 was maybe going to be in September, October, but we decided to, Rise of the Goatman was conjured up early on in the year, and so that took Ghost Island 6's slot, and that also allowed me to really let my writing breathe, because we had Ghost Island 5 in April. So it allowed my writing to breathe and, go back to it again. And because obviously being the final chapter, a lot of questions need to be answered, and plot ties need to be, tied up. So that was really the thinking in that. And I'm glad it did, it's a sensible thing to do, to stagger a project if it's not ready, rather than putting it all into doing a half job of it and just getting the issue out for the sake of it. Because something I always recognize when I'm writing is, once you've put it out there and published it, you can't change it again. It's out there, it's printed, it's done. So you need to get it right. That's really important to me. So that was the delay, but we still stuck to our quota of releasing 6 books that year. So I'm proud of that, and I'm just glad we're here now. We're here in May 2020 with the final chapter wrapping up a series, and I'm just really happy to be able to say we've completed a series and that's under our belt, and we always see out our books, because usually you see sometimes like an independent comic campaign, it doesn't really see anything after the first issue, and the reader's left there just wondering what happens next. So it's a further commitment to people who buy our stuff that you'll always see an end and get that final book.
I completely agree, and I've seen that happen quite a few times with what you were just mentioning about some people just put out the first issue and then you never hear anything again. And that happened to a great comic series that, I don't want to say series, but that happened with a great comic issue where, the guys planned to do almost like a 10-issue series per se. So they wanted to make it almost like a TV season, right? Mm-hmm. But they still have yet to even release, if you wanted to call it episode 2. So it was very,
ambitious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad, too, because I think you might know the campaign, too. I just don't want to say the name right now because I just don't know what's going on with them. Last that I knew, they had a different artist, but I haven't heard anything else, so I might have to look into that afterwards.
You have to share with us off air. But, I think that's like the creator's curse and the writer's curse as well. When you're writing a script and a story, you can write dozens and dozens of pages, and you got these big grand plans of how your story's going to pan out, and it's this big universe, and it goes this way, goes that way, and all these things. And I had the same vision for Ghost Island. I had no other ideas. All my efforts were being focused on Ghost Island. It was going to be an ongoing series. It wasn't going to be 6 issues. It was just going to be. I thought I was going to be, try and mimic what Robert Kirkman did with Walking Dead and just keep releasing issues and issues and issues, and it was just gonna be an ongoing series till however I wanted to end it. But obviously, in the independent scene, that's not that feasible, because of fees and the constant pushing an issue out each year. People. I think it's very hard to get somebody like a reader on board with an indie issue that's just continuous and doesn't really have an end, because you might get up to issue 20 and not want to you might for whatever reason stop writing comics, and those people have invested in your book and want to see the end, so it's hard. So I realized that early on, thankfully, and decided to make it a 6-issue series. Probably after the first issue came out, I was like, I'm gonna finish this as a series now and not have an ongoing one. But yeah, like I was saying, I think it's the writer's curse. You just gotta scale down your ideas and keep it tight and compact, and that's the best stories that you can have.
Yes, and oh man. No, that'll be for the next question that I kind of have as we move on down the road. But, so what is different with this campaign that is different than any other Ghost Island campaign? Is there any type of differences at all? I know besides it being the finale, but is there a bigger goal? Is there, what, is there any differences between this one than Ghost Island #1, I guess?
Yeah, well, I'd say it's pretty similar to Ghost Island 1, because Ghost Island 1 started off as a oversized 38-page issue. That was down to lack of discipline for myself of not getting the story into just a standard 24 issue. But I think it's very hard, sometimes to fit the opening story and get everything set up in the first issue. So that was 40 pages. But then I started to scale down then into 2, 3, 4, and 5, just because obviously more pages equal more costs, and that equals more money to raise on the Kickstarter campaigns, and we didn't necessarily have the following that we have now to fund those issues, so it wouldn't have been sustainable. So thankfully, after like comics is growing and growing, and our funding goals are exceeding what we're after sometimes. And so this campaign is for £4,000, and it's for a 38 big solid issue of Ghost Island 6, the final chapter. And yeah, it's just I really wanted to wrap everything up in this series, and have all the answers, questions answered. So it was important that it be this oversized issue, and people really feel like they're getting the value for money for it. So yeah, it's different from the previous campaigns, but it's also kind of going back to its roots of issue 1, which is nice. But as I say, Ghost Island, we're not restocking any of the previous issues. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're just for the stock to be taken away now in this latest campaign if people get bundles. So it's really the last chance to collect all the single issues while you can now, before they're collected in a bigger volume in the future.
Yeah, we'll discuss this volume later on too, but there you have it, folks, right out of Joey's mouth. All right. No, I'm actually looking forward to it for this final issue, and it's just like you're watching a TV show, kind of like when we were talking. Oh God, I think it was when you were on the last episode. I don't know if it actually went for the recording, but I definitely know we talked about it off the air, which we were talking about it like a TV show that we just hated the finale. So I guess with confidence here, you feel like somebody like me will appreciate the way you're ending Ghost Island.
Yeah, I think so. I think the series has always been like a slow burn, and that's really built up to this finale since issue 3. It's played out exactly how I would have liked it. I'm very satisfied with the ending and how I've wrapped it up. And this all started. I know we talk about it being the series Jurassic Park. Just Jurassic Park, but with ghosts, but all roots back down to the main character and his wife that disappeared. He woke up one night in the middle of the night, and he had the blood of his wife's hands on him. No recollection of what happened, and that's what it all comes back to for me. And just unfolding that mystery and that truth. And I think there's a lot of twists and turns in this final issue that not a lot of people will have foresee. So hopefully, even including you, Paul.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like deep down you kind of need that backstory as well, which you do with Ghost Island, which is nice, with pages of young Josh, which kind of went on before, and we see the things that go on while being on the island, and I called it like it's an island that reminds me of House on Haunted Hill with some like Outlast, the video game aspect, but with ghosts. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm trying to remember names right now too. The only one I can remember, the main protagonist, is Josh.
Yeah. So you got Josh, the protagonist. We've got Alice, the news journalist. We've got the priest, and we've got Billy, the young janitor's kid, and we've got Mr. Deakins, who's the entrepreneur, and the island owner. They're the main cast.
Yes. Well, I'll probably do my best to remember the name, but I doubt I will. So, for me, getting introduced into Ghost Island, it was actually back when you had Wendigo Wood #2 campaign going. I ended up doing your Ultimate Horror bundle. so I ended up getting, all your current issues at the time. So that was like Ghost Island 1 to 4, I believe.
Right.
And then, what was it? 1 to go 1 and 2, Folk Tales. And I don't think you had to stay awake yet, so I think that might have been it. I can't remember. I might be
Sounds about
missing
right.
somewhere, but yeah. Well, it was like 6 or 7, I think you had at the time.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Whatever. Yeah. I can't remember. But it's been almost 2 years, so. Anyway, so Ghost Island, when I first heard about it from you and we're taking a look at the artwork and stuff, I was just like, this sounds really interesting. I can't wait to actually, dive into those once the physical and or digital came through, so I could really more prepare myself for like more of your guys' work. And then after talking to you, learning that Ghost Island is basically your baby that started Afterlife because it was your first project per se. It and it's like when you watch a TV show and it just doesn't end in a good way. And then there's sometimes where, well, you like the TV show so much that it gets canceled. So how much of a writing difference, Joey, now between Ghost Island #1 to #6? And I know you were just discussing about the page differences, how you had to cut the pages basically in half and stuff. But, like, what is some of the changes that you wish you could have planned out differently?
Originally, when it was planned, I was going to say, when I was saying before, it was going to be an ongoing series, and in each issue, it was going to go into like each of the evil spirits on the island. So you'd have an issue totally dedicated to one of the evil ghosts, and you'd go into that, and you go into the past of them, and then it would come back out, and then the next issue would follow back onto the events of what are happening on the island, and then another issue would dip back into another ghost that Josh, the protagonist, the psychic, who would explore them, and things would start to get darker and more dangerous. But obviously, like I said before, it had to be a limited series in the end. But if I, money was no option, and we could keep it going forever, that would have been the plan. And that's also the plan that I would foresee if it was going to be split into a TV series or adapted in that way. You could have an episode each on a ghost or something terrible that's locked up on that island, and go into the past of how they became who they are and what they are. I think that's a really interesting concept to explore. So yeah, that's the only thing I'd change.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think I did say something about that to you, and you were talking to me about that. Well, if money was like grown on trees or whatever, we could just basically just do whatever, really. So, and it's sad too because like it would have been neat to learn more as well, but when the comic, you as much as much as I love comics, you don't really have a restriction per se, but you sort of do, because you got to think about the money cost as well. You got to think about each page, filling it up, getting it done, putting it out there, satisfying readers, not giving too much information and everything else. But like, what's interesting too is what if I mean this was So I'll hold on to this question until the very end because that's basically one of the things I wanted to really get into too, which is the what you were just mentioning with the ghost. But otherwise, that's really the only thing that you wish you could change. You don't. There's nothing else.
Story-wise, I've been really happy with, a lot goes into the books in each issue, and everything's plotted out and planned out. Honestly, I'm really happy with how the series has gone, and as I say, I wish it could have been longer and more expanded on. If that, I believe I've fit everything in and explained everything and paced things the way I've always wanted to. Obviously, the page counts for the first 2 issues could have been brought down a bit more. That would save on costs and things like that. But I'm really happy with how the characters have developed and how it all comes to a head. It just felt so natural to write this book. It's been a pleasure and a joy to do it. So with number 6 coming out and all the 5 previous issues having been a conglomerate to this final issue, this final issue wouldn't happen without all the little cogs that have turned and happened in the previous issues. So no, I'm happy with how I've done it.
Now, for a quick question at the writing as a whole series, which issue gave you? Was there any issue writing from either issue 1 to this finale have given you any type of rewrite at all, like more than what you should have, or more than that, like more than what you wanted per se, because it didn't feel right, or did you kind of have to start over at all because you just felt like it wasn't, connecting to the story the way you wished originally, so now you got to go back and fix a couple things? Were there any type of issues like that with it?
Well, with issue 1, when I wrote that issue, I didn't have an ending. I didn't know how it was going to end, and I like that pressure of as soon as I realized this is going to be a 6 issues, it was like I'm glad I realized that early on from the beginning of issue 2. Otherwise, that could have caused issues later on. But in terms of the writing, I think it was when I was getting to issue 5. It was like, how am I going to wrap this story up in the final 24 pages? It's just, if I do that, there's just going to be more questions than answers, and it just wasn't going to be satisfying at all, and I wasn't going to extend it to 7 issues on an odd number. It was just wasn't going to work that way. So I had to. It's a bit of a gamble. It's a bit of a gamble because 24 pages is standard comic size. That's printing costs on its own, and then you're asking for almost double your art costs to make it out to 38 pages, which is now, and raise the goal. So it was a gamble, but it's something I stuck to tell the story in the end. To get that satisfying ending and close that chapter on the book. So I'm glad I did, because the support that's come out the gates so far has been amazing and justified that that higher amount on the Kickstarter now to finish a longer book. I could probably plot better. I plot better in terms of the page count, and that's from the start. But like I said, it was at the start it was going to be this big massive thing, and I've been trying to reduce that ever since then, that kind of scale. So yeah, the page count's been a bit all over the place, but in the end, I've been able to tell the story and wrap it up, in 6 issues.
Yes, and just for the record, I just want to throw it out there. As we record this too, I believe Joey is about 70% to his goal, and there is about 28 days left to back the finale of Ghost Island. So I will re-say what Joey said sort of near the beginning is like, if you would love to collect the entire series before it comes into a volume, this is your last chance. So back the Kickstarter now. I have links down in the episode description or the article description, depending on where you are listening to this interview with Joey and myself. So, when did it end? Let's see. It ends on June 24th, 2020 at basically 5 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that would be about 10 a.m. UK time.
Mm-hmm. We've got we had an early bird bundle for the complete collection. That was 25 copies at like a lower price, and they went in the first day. And we've got currently just over 45 copies left of the bundle. And once they're gone, they're really gone.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, holy.
Yeah.
But hey, that's good, man. I mean,
that's
like you were all saying.
That's literally, all the books left, that I've got. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, you got a bigger audience now. It's wow, ridiculous.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it is good karma, man. I mean, it's I definitely see this getting funded, and I just hope people will appreciate Ghost Island as a whole to make them come back for more. And what I mean is pretty soon, man, you're gonna be You're gonna be pushing out the finale for Wendigo Wood and Stay Awake, which we'll discuss in the later episodes and stuff. But those are almost wrapped up. It's almost seems like I think it was this year. Oh, and you got Rise. First of the Goat Man.
Yeah. That's being worked on at the moment. Oh, it's just looking so good. Super excited about that.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see that people are starting to recognize your guys' work now. And I'm not trying to say it as a bad way. I'm just saying there's a big push with you guys now, and I like it because you're finally getting to see more stuff out of you guys. People are enjoying your stuff, and I mean, you're reliable when it comes to the Kickstarters. You're always on time. I've never complained except for one thing. I won't go into that. Anyway, that's a joke between me and Joey, but it's nothing perfect. So don't take that the wrong way, listeners.
It definitely feels like there's been a shift of momentum this year.
Yeah.
Couple of things, and even during a crisis as well. Who'd have thought? But I think you get a lot of people coming on to our stuff now as well, seeing that this series being completed. People don't like to buy issue 1s and 2s of things in case they don't get completed. And really, this year's the year of us collecting 75% of our ongoing series right now. Like you said, we've got Stay Awake 4, and then Wendigo Wood 4, and then obviously Ghost Island 6. This is the year we're collecting on things, and if people are going to get on board, now is the very, very best time to get on board.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and if you guys need copies of Folktales Volume 2, Stay Awake number 3, what else? A Ghost Island variant number 1, contact me. I got some extras. So guys need like a Afterlife starter kit, come to me first. Anyway, where were we? Yes. So, real quick before we go into the next part, Joey. So because of the whole COVID-19 stuff, for those that have never heard of Ghost Island, are they still able to grab Ghost Island #1 and #2 digitally for free?
Yeah, they're still on the website. Ghost Island 1 and 2 digital. They'll probably be available indefinitely, really. Yeah, just for people to get a taste of our stuff, really.
Now, are you thinking of like, I don't know if you thought of this, but this is just out of a crazy idea. But I know how sometimes some people will. Well, you might have seen it. You play video games every now and then, but you know how with some of the episodic games we have now, they'll actually give out the first episode for free to kind of grab you into it. Now, have you thought, or yeah, I guess, have you thought of maybe just releasing maybe the first issue to the public for free to kind of be like, hey, this is what the series sort of is. If you like it, you can, grab the rest or whatever, or you just feel like Ghost Island is just enough.
Yeah, I have thought about that. And just because, really, we're independent at the end of the day, and the price of things and the cost of things all go back into us being able to make more comics and sustain us, really. So with Ghost Island, because it's a 6-issue series, it's able to get people involved more and seeing an early issue and getting a taste of it, just because it's an older issue. And with things like, if we were to do that with other ones, it may affect sales and things, and they are important to us to, like I say, keep making the books. Really, we're not these big twos out there that are able to just give out, because obviously these big companies, they have hundreds and hundreds of books coming out all the time. We're at max capacity right now, operating within Kickstarter to do 6 campaigns a year, possibly more. So we want to keep building that. There's always examples of the artwork and pages. There's like 5 pages available on the website to have a look of the artwork and have a little bit look at the story and see if it's your thing. So I think that's enough for people to see whether they want to get on board with our stuff. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true. Otherwise, the only thing I can think of is like do like what some company do when it comes to like free comic book day. Yeah, you guys do free comic book day, right?
in the UK, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It's just I'm always amazed at some places that don't do certain things, and there's others that don't, or that do certain things.
Yeah.
But anyway, what would be maybe cool is what you could do if you wanted to, and if you guys had the time, is take a couple of your favorite stories, like what to say, Ghost Island, When to Go Wood, Stay Awake, what to say, and just put in the first 5 pages as like a teaser, or maybe not 5 pages, maybe like the first 4 pages, and then like it's like the sample complete, then it goes on to the next one. So
Yeah.
you could always do something like that, and then you could just always just put it in a PDF file. You don't even have to print it, so that will help save money. And then boom, there you go, a free file.
I'd love to do the method of giving out 1 free issue, or doing something a bit like what Robert Kirkman did with Die Die Die. I don't know if you're familiar with his release for that.
I don't think I am.
He was it was like a brand new series he was working on. Didn't announce it. Didn't do anything. Didn't let anybody know. The dozens and dozens of boxes turned up at comic book shops all up and down the US, and were made available for free to the comic shops to sell onto customers. And it was just like a brand new series, put out there for readers to, find out for the first time.
Wow!
I think it's a brilliant idea, and it was given back to the comic shops as well. They didn't have to pay for them or anything like that. Just put it on the shelves, and the money was theirs. I'd love to do all these creative things. I'm always looking for new and innovative ways to, expand the Afterlight comics and keep us growing. You have to with the independent scene.
Fair enough. I'll have to look into that more. All right, so Joey, you did mention the volume of Ghost Island. That is why you are recommending, and we're recommending, I should say, that if you want the Ghost Island single copies for, basically the collection purpose, now is your chance for sure. And so, with that being said, what can we expect with the Ghost Island, we'll just call it the trade paperback collection?
Yeah. You can expect a ton of extras. You can expect, each campaign we used to have a collection of ghosts, prints designed by all these amazing artists, different ghosts that we see on the island. There'd be a collection of them, plus more prints designed by some more artists. We'd probably have more behind the scenes of script and sketches of a script to sketch to fully finished page, and showing that process. Just a ton of extras. I mean, that's the point I always want to get with all of my books. This big, nice, perfect bound edition of the full collection of books. I'd love to release my books like that from the start. With, again, if money was no option, we could fund a full book of all the artwork and book collected in one from the start. I'd love to do that, but obviously the environment we're in, we can't do that. So yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to take my time and do a lovely, perfect bound edition. You'll have a brand new cover for the Ghost Island. I've always had this cover in mind for it as well, which is amazing. And yeah, like I said, it's gonna be filled to the brims with tons of content. Plenty of value for your money.
Now, do you have an idea? You know what? I was actually trying to figure this out while we're talking, but maybe you might beat me to it. But so, how many pages would this trade paperback even be for Ghost Island? Because the first 2 issues were 50 pages, and then it went into the 25 or so, right?
Yeah. So the first 2 issues combined, I think, were just over 70 pages. So the full perfect bound edition with all 6 issues will come to about just over 180 pages. And then you're going to have all these extras and stuff in. I'm going to try and keep it to a sensible weight limit, and so the shipping on that's not going to be astronomical. I want to be able to get this over to you guys in the US and the rest of the world. That's important to me, so I'm going to take that into consideration when adding these extras and not going too overboard with it, so nobody can get a copy. So yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be full of value, isn't it, for 180 pages plus.
That's pretty good for a trade paperback.
Yeah.
And for your first one too, and for your first series, that's real good. So, and I bet you can't wait to hold that baby too. Be like, I'm done.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, can't wait. I'm a completionist, so and a perfectionist. So being able to have that all in front of me, it's done. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Isn't being a completionist and a perfectionist ridiculous? Isn't it, Joey? It's one.
You can never rest.
You want to
You can never rest.
No.
I haven't
It's
slept
like,
in
oh,
30 years.
Better. Right. 30 years, oh boy. So do you have any idea at all of how you're planning to do the trade paperback? I know, of course, it's going to be next year, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have any idea right now of like when we could possibly expect to see it, or are you still kind of planning it?
It'll probably be the back end of next year, 2021. Just so people, it can let issue 6 breathe a bit, and people get their copies of that book that they haven't got yet, who've been collecting the issues separately. And just next year's going to be a balance between collected editions of series that we've done, and brand new series, and one-offs and things. I want to. I'm wrapping up a lot of ongoing series this year, so I'm looking forward into the future to, sharing new works and, other crazy horror stuff. So it's a nice balance between, going back and collecting editions and also bringing out fresh new content also.
That's cool. Now, just out of curiosity, since you were so excited to mention about this cover for the trade paperback, now this makes me wonder. I don't know what it is, so I don't know what you're excited about for this design of what you're speaking of. But I'm just curious: are you bringing back the artist that did the variant for the first Ghost Island, or are you just having the same person that's been doing the cover? I'm just curious.
I'm actually looking at a really famous 80s horror movie poster designer who done like a traditional, one of the movies, and he always used to come like a sketched, realistic look, and it's going to be like of the characters all on the island with that, like floating heads with the island in the background, kind of like Haunted Hill style.
Oh,
that's always been the vision, man. So, like a homage to that.
Wrong about House on Haunted Hill. So, see, boom, mic drop.
I hadn't actually even seen that film until like halfway through writing this as well, and I absolutely loved it.
Now, have you seen? Are we talking the original, like with Vincent Price, or the remake?
I'm talking about the remake. I've never seen the original.
You should.
Yeah.
If you could ever find the original with Vincent Price, definitely check it out.
Oh well.
But the remake is really good too.
Yeah.
So, but
nice.
I recently saw the original a couple years ago with Vincent Price, the black and white.
Yeah.
Wow, what a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a big fan of Vincent Price anyway, so, but it was really cool to see the original versus the remake, which I don't have anything against the remake. And then, what is it called? Return to House on Haunted Hill. That wasn't bad. I mean, I enjoyed them. A lot of people can bash on them, but, I enjoyed them. It's just like 13 Ghosts,
Yeah. Yeah. It's guilty pleasures, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, there you guys go about the trade paperback. And I guess just keep your wallets handy for that, because when that campaign rolled around, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a hefty little goal, because of 180 pages is not going to be cheap for printers. So, yeah.
There's that though, and there's the nice balance that we don't have the, artwork funds to raise, for the interior pages.
That's true.
So it balances out a bit. It should be, a humble goal for us. So, yeah.
All right. Well, before we end this, Joey, my last thing to talk about for Ghost Island is you were sort of mentioning about the side stories with ghosts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the question here is, and hopefully I remember what I was trying to say to you earlier when I said I'm going to hold the question, but I think this is going to answer it either way. But is there any plans for the future of possibly seeing the ghost of Ghost Island have a return?
Mm-hmm. The answer to that, I'll let you read the final issue, and then you can see where that could possibly go. First, maybe we can catch up on that question in the future.
Well, if I had to guess already, I might have an idea already. And all I'm going to say to this is just people listening, if I'm right, all you're going to hear is Joey say that is correct, because I am so going to take out what I'm going to say if I am right. And if I'm wrong, I'm keeping it in. So this is the big test right now, because I'm usually pretty good at catching on Joey's writing of Ghost Island. Just like I said in the Exorcism review, is unfortunately I was kind of seeing the end of who the bad guy was, and with sort of some hints going on with seeing the new campaign images. I kind of had, once again, my thought process going, okay, we're definitely going into the idea of what I'm having, unfortunately, for Joey. And now the next thing is filling the shoes of the ending. Is he going the B route or the C route for me in my brain? And we'll find out. But anyway, so
hit me.
So my thing for the ghost, is
Yeah.
That's my final answer.
Yeah, that was the plan.
See? Alright, well, see, people, you just heard that yup, so what I actually just said is right. So, unfortunately, you're going to have to pick up the issue of the finale to know exactly why Joey just said yep, without me being there and hearing my answer at least. So, see, this is what I mean. Once I start to learn somebody's writing, I can almost pick out it. Can I maybe say what the ending of Ghost Island is? Maybe not. Well, maybe not, maybe yes, because I have two brain cells that are fighting back and forth right now of what could possibly be going on for the ending here. And that is why I'll say this. And if I'm right again, I gotta cut it out.
Let's go.
So once again, people, if we hear a yup from Joey's mouth after what I'm gonna say answer, then we know I'm on to something, and Joey needs to start getting better at writing. No, no, I'm joking. Keep going the way you're doing it. But this is the way my brain works. But anyway, so my answer for the ending of how Ghost Island ends, and this is I'm gonna take two swings at this, because if they're both wrong, I'll be surprised, and then that will mean a good thing. So the first way is Shaw would Josh want a lost? Well, would Josh want a patient from the island himself, or two? Is he some sort of part of the island as well, and that is why the priests have a cult, because they're trying to stop Josh from becoming his true form, sort of deal.
Okay. I can tell you those two answers, no.
Don't two answers or no?
No.
All right,
Not
good.
not in the same circle, I'm afraid.
All right, good. Good.
I'm glad as well.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, and I go, oh man, I hope it's not like one of these type of things. And I'm like,
No.
if it is, then damn.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go.
I can breathe a sigh. I can breathe a sigh of relief now as well.
Yeah, right. All right, well, one out of two is not bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I got the one part right, and I did not get the ending, so that's good. So I'm looking forward to the ending. Now, right. Well, so really, this is the end of the episode for Ghost Island, and well, Joey, I don't know. I mean, since this is my first time trying to figure out how to even do something like this, but I figured, Ghost Island is your baby. You guys had this going on for how many years now? Then, oh God,
2017, late October.
Yeah, so about 3 years.
Yeah, that was after Comics was formed as well.
Yeah. So, and you can finally mark off Ghost Island may be complete. And I'm only just saying that because, we still gotta make sure your thing gets funded. But, so the next plan is, what is the next plan? Can you share anything with us?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so working on a really, really exciting, super secret project right now. I think I teased it on the last episode about we're bringing out some type of game.
Yep.
And that's speeding through with development right now, and we're looking at potentially dropping that in July or August. So yeah,
July, August of this year or next year?
This year, man. Yeah. 2
Oh
months.
Crap!
Yeah. So I think we teased as well, like it was about folklore, about folk tales, cryptids, along those lines. So I'm really excited about that. As soon as Ghost Island finishes, we'll be, revealing a bit more of that. So just a balance, really, because Birth of the Goat Man, that's speeding through production as well. So it's between those two, which is going to come first. It's like the chicken or the egg. It's either Goat Man or the cryptid is going to come first. But yeah, also Birth of the Goat Man. That's looking amazing. It's a sequel to Rise of the Goat Man, and that's also coming in at 38 pages. That's going to be a nice big issue. Part of that trilogy. It follows a detective who is at the scene of climax of events from the previous issue, and you follow him and you get a better understanding of how the Goatman became Goatman, and answers those questions that people had at the end of that first issue, and it sets it up for the third issue really nicely as well. So yeah, it's exciting times yet again, man.
But if you want to see more from Joey anyway, supporting a independent company means more stuff, more money to help them out too. Even though Joey I can't really say how much Joey really sees out of all the campaigns, but if you want to help with him with the printing and shipping and all that, and getting his work out there, his name out there with Afterlight, the Kickstarter is the best way to do it. And I think actually, no, what? I don't even think I ever have, and if I have, we might as well just pop in the question one last time. So, Joey, have you ever considered using Indiegogo instead of Kickstarter?
I have because I'm always open to new ways of trying to fund us. But I don't know. It's just I've always thought of it maybe like a post Kickstarter campaign. But I'm of the thinking, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Kickstarter's going so well, and it's like I said before, it's the momentum shifting now, and to move to another platform. When I don't like, if someone's, I always buy comics on Kickstarter. Basically, I don't really look on Indiegogo. So maybe in the future, maybe, but no plans in the short term upcoming or anything for Indiegogo.
Right. No, I just know there's a difference with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Kickstarter, you have to wait for your funds to come to you versus Indiegogo, where you can set it up so that even if you don't reach your goal, you can still take the money.
Yeah, thing. I know it's a big risk and it's scary doing it, pressing the button, launching, and not making risk of not making your goal, but. It creates the urgency for the person that, is going to support you at the end of the day. And, you need the full amount. I couldn't do that with Indiegogo. I'd take like half of what we need on. We would probably see one book a year if that was the case. So, yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I was just curious. But, and the last thing that I want to bring up, because so far when Joe's been on it, I always forget to ask him or tell him to throw it out there. And I don't think Joey has even said it himself. So, Joey, what other platform is there that you guys are currently using to help you out by month?
Yeah, so I'm also on Patreon. That's for me exclusively and associated with Afterlight Comics. It shows you really for anyone maybe wondering what the process is like behind the scenes at Afterlight Comics, or as a writer themselves, or just wants to have a look how it all works. Basically, I'm on Patreon, and recently I've been sharing first few pages of scripts for issues. Exclusive images and captions, and I'm just about today. I'm just wrapping up the first 5 pages of Ghost Island 6, lettering that, and today hopefully I'll be putting the first 5 pages on there first exclusively for all Patreon. So there's going to be stuff every week on there now. So yeah.
Right. Well, there you go. So there's a way to do it. I mean, I support Joey on Patreon, I believe. I think I still do. I'm pretty sure because, I got a little taste of the first 5 pages of Ghost Island number 6, and, well, I haven't looked at it, to be honest, because I was just like, I think I want to wait.
Yeah. Well, you're in luck because you're going to have the first 6 pages and the Patreon today, I think. Before anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to see these pages before the Kickstarter even launched people. So that's a cool thing that Joey does. Joey also gave me like a code for his store. Yeah. And there's other stuff you can oh God, what the Patreon word now? Perks, I guess.
That's it. Yeah.
There's where Joey will send you signed copies per month if you go that type of route. Otherwise, there's the short route like me, which is you just get nice little behind the scene previews, exclusive first looks before the public, and yeah, it's real cool. And I think that's like £5 or so a month, which is like $5 American, which is not that bad. So, it's nice to support little indie people like him. So but yeah. So while you wait for your comic to come into the mail, you can at least enjoy some behind the scenes stuff when you're waiting. So it's kind of cool, kind of nice.
Yeah.
But so once again, Joey, thank you for coming on. And I don't know about you, but I thought this was kind of a successful little episode, even though this was a little bit different for me, for sure. I don't know about you, but I don't know, because this might be your first time talking about it as a whole too, for all I know. But I think it's kind of cool because we get to see, and if we had your artist here or somebody too, we could probably talk into like how much of a hassle you were. No, I'm joking. Another joke.
Yeah.
Another joke. Yeah, I wanted to strangle Joey because of him. He wanted me to change this and that, and I was like, come on. But no, everybody should check this out. You got 28 days. I see two people just back, I think two people, while we were just talking, just back the campaign. So, check it out. And if you're not sure about Ghost Island, go to afterlightcomics.com and grab the first 2 issues for free. Thank you for allowing us to have this little conversation. And for the record, this outro had to be re-recorded because the original time we thought the whole thing was lost. But no, it did not get lost. So we're going to quickly end it right now before we have to even redo this again because Joey has some shopping to do. So until next time, my name was Paulowski, and you were listening to me chat with Joey Oliveira. And as always, make sure to stay scary.